Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Honorable Mayors and Governors, Mayor of Boryong, Mayor Kim, Governor Kim of the province of Jeonnam, Vice Minister Yeshulyo, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed wonderful for me to be here today at this Korea Festival of Sustainable Development. I would like to thank the Korean Local Government Alliance for Sustainability and of course our colleagues at Iklay Korea, as well as all of the other organizers and co-organizers who have contributed to the organization of this important and timely event. It is great, really great to see that this event has brought so many representatives in person of national and subnational governments, of institutes, experts, and civil society groups to collaborate and to work together towards local sustainability. In my presentation today, I would like to jointly cover with you some key directions that we think cities and subnational governments around the world should undertake to achieve more sustainability in their jurisdictions. First of all, and in general at Iklay, we believe that sustainable urbanization is key to our humanity, and it is key to meet the multiple and interconnected challenges and crises that currently affect our life on this planet. The current headlines of global pandemic, of war, of food and energy price increases require integrated solutions, with cities being a key arena for action. It seems challenging to find comprehensive solutions that are geared to enhance the sustainability of humankind and of our planet. However, we must take this responsibility and we must make the right choices now, and we must keep the right path. Because the choices that we make now as local leaders will determine if all of us will be able to accelerate the transformation of human civilization from a fossil fuel-based, extraction-intensive, capital-oriented model of the past centuries into a peaceful, renewable, resilient, nature-based oriented model that strives to respect the limits of this planet. Next slide, please. Currently, the Iklay network comprises more than 2,600 cities in more than 125 countries. All of them are making concentrated efforts towards finding and sharing sustainability solutions among each other, despite the geographical and context-related differences amongst them. Over the past decades, many cities around the world undertook the right sustainability efforts, for example, in the field of electric and non-motorized mobility, in the field of transitioning towards renewable energy, in the field of rapid digitalization of services, solidarity program rollouts, and more. Next slide, please. Our Iklay Strategic Vision 2021-2027 builds on these practices and gives further guidance to implement local sustainability along and through these 5 pathways. First, under the low emission development pathway, the Iklay network stands to achieve a net zero emission, climate neutral future. Next slide, please. Indeed, we ask our members to drastically reduce all environmentally harmful pollutants and emissions from energy, transport, the built environment, from food systems, and from waste. in particular as a commitment to the Paris Agreement and to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius maximum, we align with science that it is essential to achieve carbon neutrality in all governmental operations and in all operations of our communities, at the latest by 2050. For this, it is imperative to implement sustainable climate and energy plans, ideally based on 100% renewables, and to divest from fossil fuels. It is necessary to decarbonize our local transport sectors, to promote nature-based solutions, to promote circular development actions, as well as people-centered inclusive actions. We work with our cities to implement midterm targets by 2030 as part of the UN Cities Race to Zero campaign. Our own ICLEI Green Climate Cities program and our ICLEI Climate Neutrality Framework provide the necessary guidance on how to accelerate climate action, and the commitment as well as progress is tracked, is monitored through our tracker and the Global Covenant of Mayors. Next slide, please. Secondly, under the nature-based development pathway, we ask our members to take all efforts to restore humanity's broken relationship with nature and the planet, and in doing so, to enhance the biodiversity in and around our cities. And I think the former speaker has given a very good example of that, as what work has been undertaken in this region here. Indeed, our ecosystems underpin our local economies, and we depend on them for social integrity, for the well-being and the resilience of our communities. Therefore, at ICLEI, we assist our cities in the development of nature-based organized society plans, strategies and initiatives that use the potential of nature to provide essential ecosystem services. Our cities with nature and regions with nature platforms help to share, connect, pioneer and learn together. Next slide, please. Thirdly, as an integral part of the above two pathways for sustainability, we ask our members to seek ways to decouple urban economic development from resource consumption and waste generation. Through the Circle Development Pathway, we guide cities to promote a just transition from a linear to a circular economy in collaboration with citizens, businesses, and the research community. Indeed, our economic system should no longer rely on fossil fuels or other destructive resource extractions. Instead, we ask our members to become zero-waste cities, to become zero-waste towns or zero-waste provinces, and help residents to practice a lifestyle with a maximum footprint of carbon of 2.5 tons of CO2 equivalent per capita. Our ICLEI Circulars platform of leading ICLEI network cities and members will guide to rethink, to reuse, to regenerate, to reduce, and to recover. Next slide, please. Fourthly, the COVID-19 pandemic revealed more than ever that our members and all local and regional governments in the world must urgently engage in a robust, resilient development pathway and make resilience a core part of their own local sustainability strategies. We must prepare for any new risks and impacts and take into account the rights and the needs of the vulnerable amongst us. The ICLEI Resilience Methodology is in partnership with UNDRR, the United Nations Agency for Disaster and Risk Reduction. And together we have set up the Making Cities Resilient 2030 campaign, as well as the United Nations Race to Resilient campaign. Through these campaigns, we support our cities to design and implement resilient-oriented actions in the local jurisdictions. This year, we start to work in Latin America towards identifying new models to insure and reinsure urban risks, and in doing so, to support the resilience efforts of our members. Next slide, please. Fifthly, and finally, for the development to be sustainable, this development must be equitable, and it must be people-centered. We cannot accept a development that is not geared towards human beings and their well-being. We must build peaceful, just, livable, and inclusive urban communities. We must address the systemic causes of poverty and the systemic causes of injustice, and dismantle those social and environmental inequalities. Over the last 3 years, we have seen in our network a very strong uptake of concrete actions to put people at the center of sustainable development strategies in our cities. And also, because of the implementation of the SDGs at local and regional level, the intake of people and equality of people in sustainability strategies have increased throughout our network. Next slide, please. By applying these 5 interconnected pathways within a local or a regional context, cities can effectively address and even reverse detrimental practices. They can bridge divides and connect actors, sectors, and regions of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, for the SDGs in our urban world to become sustainable, leaders of government at all levels, be it in large or intermediary cities, in towns, metropolises, regions, or in the nations, must agree and be willing to undertake collaborative action together with industry and the broader civil society. We must get each governmental leader at every level to declare the climate emergency, similarly as to declaring the COVID-19 pandemic, and in doing so, to trigger vast and comprehensive programs that allow for a correct response to that emergency. As of today, more than 2,000 jurisdictions worldwide have declared the climate emergency, and I'm very pleased to see that many of the local and regional governments here in South Korea, if not almost all of them, have already declared the climate emergency in this country. We must urge our national governments to create the enabling frameworks for cities to act within these. Nations must create the rule books for the cities and local governments. They must support innovation. They must promote new and best technologies, design decarbonizing policies, and stimulate personal behavior towards change, towards 1.5 degrees lifestyles. You and we as leaders of local and regional governments have an increasing influence and a role to ensure the economic integration and territorial cohesion in our areas. And often we play a unique role in providing essential services to both the urban and the rural populations. Local leaders are the closest to the citizens of the world, and they can best engage with the people of the communities. They understand their perspectives, and they can bring them to join the path of transformation. Together, we can and must demonstrate visionary leadership, lead by example, share our knowledge actively, and speak with a united voice. Next slide, please. It is my strong hope that the Iklei strategic vision is a common, ambitious pledge to make sustainable development the only model for development in the urban 21st century. And this Iklei strategic vision is obviously an advice, a guidance to our own Iklei members, but can be applied by every local or regional government in the world. And as I said, I'm very pleased to see that so many South Korean local and regional governments have rallied behind the climate emergency and the need to reach carbon neutrality at the local level. Numerous sustainability projects in South Korea, and we have heard here already some of them today, have received national and international attention from other leaders in this region and in the rest of the world. We also believe that Korean local governments can show leadership in scaling up concrete actions linked to the SDGs through Icle's 5 pathways. Together with our 500 experts that work in our 26 offices around the world, and of course the experts in Icle Korea, we will continue supporting Korean local governments with capacity building, knowledge exchange, and new projects and programs. Final slide, thank you. Last slide, please. We are looking forward very much to continue working with you on your joint path towards sustainability. I'm here for today and tomorrow still, and I'm extremely interested to listen to all of the experiences that you are making, to all of the stories, the good stories that you can be telling us here today. And therefore, again, I'm very pleased for your attention here today. I'm very pleased to be here with you today and take the opportunity of the next 1.5 days for discussions. Thank you very much.